Greetings from home, everybody. I'm Ilra of Rhythmic Service, here at your service to work with you this day. Bring you a little healthy rhythm to empower your energies. For you're here at a critical time on planet Earth, dear ones. It's a very unusual set of circumstances that are all coming together in different ways. And we tell you, you've got war on your planet. You've had it for some time now, again. And that means that somewhere, someone thinks that that's a good idea. Well, things have changed a bit since that was the beginning of that whole process. I'm going to tell you, just from the overview of war in general, a lot has been gained by different rulers through war. Of course. It's how people used to go and take over new lands. They'd go to war. They'd take their whole armies out there and just rape and pillage and clear everything out and build their own energies in there. It's happened over and over. And you think that was a long time ago. It wasn't. It was fairly soon. So it continually happened on a regular basis. Now, you're not in that. Maybe most of you that are watching this are not involved in that in one way or the other, the different wars that are taking place on planet Earth right now. But I tell you, you're involved in a different way. And that's one of the things I want to bring you here today. You see, the collective will ultimately determine how far this goes. Now, that's not easy to say, because there's many rulers who will go against the collective. They'll even go against their own people if they think they can accomplish something or do things in that. And we're saying it that way for a reason, dear ones. If you look at the wars that are on planet Earth right now, they're not about people. These are not people. These are governments that are fighting each other, basically. Well, sometimes the people revolt against the government and end up bashing their heads against the wall. So there's lots of things that you can see about this. And be careful taking sides, too, because obviously this has been going on for a long time in different areas. And you can start to see where that is. Now, the question is rather, what do you play in this? How do you work with this? Maybe you don't live anywhere near this. Maybe it's just taking time on your television set if you're watching it, or in your newspaper that you're reading, whatever the case. Well, the reality is you have an effect on it. Because for the first time now, dear ones, you're well into the fifth dimension. And being well into the fifth dimension, you are connected. This goes back quite a ways, and you've discovered parts of this that you can validate in your quantum mechanics. It's called quantum entanglement, where two particles, no matter how far they are separated, are intricately entwined and basically move at the same exact moment, faster than the speed of light. It would be faster than the speed of light, but it's not actually traveling because they're actually connected. So are you. Now, as you go through the veil, dear ones, as you come down to play this game of pretending to be a human, you make all your contracts, you do all the fun things that you're going to do. And then you step into it and you start these things into motion. You try to remember and you go, what am I doing here? Who am I? Where is this energy? And you play the game of learning how to be a human, because you have to do that because you're actually a spirit. So all of a sudden stuck inside this human body. So as you're working with these things, you tend to balance everything. And the connection that you have starts to disappear. It's part of the veil. It's part of the properties of the game that you wrote yourself. You wrote the rules to this game. Oh, yes, we know. You don't think you're creator beings, but you are. Nonetheless, the interesting part is you set this up in different ways. So in this balance, when you disconnect yourself or pretend that you can't see that connection, you start seeing things from a different perspective, and you see things as encroaching. You see things as taking away from you. You see things as threatening you in some way. And this builds and builds and builds. What you are seeing here in the areas of Israel and Palestine right now, of course, has gone on for a very, very long time. And as difficult as this is to watch, the best you might be able to hope for at this very moment is that some resolution comes out of this. That might make it worthwhile to some degree. But humans, there's ways of communicating without bombs. There's ways of doing all these things. Now, yes, you can't just be aggressive like some of you are on planet Earth, trying to take over new lands, trying to steal land from your neighbors, all the things that are taking place. Yes, we've seen all that. And that's fairly normal. Most of you have an ego, and that gets in the way sometimes, especially when you become a world global leader, so to speak. So in there, what you're working with is this balance. Because you don't see the connection that you have with everyone else. It says, oh, that's happening over there. I don't need to worry about it. It's a different part of the world. I don't believe like those people do, so it's different. It's going to be different for me. And you don't see the connection. Well, that's part of the veil. The veil is very successful at hiding the connection. But you're all intricately tied together. That when you have a thought, dear ones, that thought becomes imprinted in what we're just going to call the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind floats around and is shared by everyone on the planet. So what that actually means is that at any moment that any one of you have a thought, that it's only a matter of time before the rest of you have the opportunity to take that same thought, to have it float by your subconscious mind at the well. And if you're awake and you go, oh, there's a nice thought, I think I'm going to make that my own. I think I'm going to go with that. And you release the ones that are negative. Oh, there's a negative thought. I think I'm just going to let that one go. No, thanks. I'm not going to do. Oh, but there's a really pretty one. I'm going to add that one too. So you're constantly bringing these thoughts out of the subconscious mind, bringing them into your consciousness and grounding them on the planet. What if you were able to plant the seeds of peace up there? Well, some of you actually came in with that in mind in this lifetime. And dear ones, we tell you that there are many more of what we call last timers on this planet than you can imagine. And what does that mean? Well, it's not about the Earth. It's not about the planet Earth or her path forward or anything of that nature. This has to do with the evolution of humans. For what happens is, dear ones, you come in as a spirit, you pretend to be a human, you learn things, you bring that back with you, you anchor it into your core personality when you come home. Then you come back and you dig in some more, you bring some more things, and you put the veil on each time, not even remembering the last time. So it's kind of a laborious process to make any advancement as a spirit in a human form. And yet, you're doing it. Now, how does that work exactly, and what can you do to increase that? Well, that changes the world around you. And one of the things that's starting to happen is you see the connecting lines between people. And this is actually why we made the Keeper choose this background that we're using this day. Because it's a bunch of lines that are all connected and moving together and creating this beautiful matrix of love. And that's what we'd like you to work on. That is the resolution of filling the fear. Because the fear is a vacancy. It's missing information that is blown out of proportion. And sometimes fears are good, so they're not all bad, but it's missing information. You fill in the information, you won't be afraid anymore. You may not like the outcome, but you won't be afraid of it. So it's kind of interesting. You can kind of replace that in some ways. But now with all these wars going on planet Earth, is it your responsibility to go out and hold a sign and say, I stand on this side, I'm going to be here? Well, you certainly can do that, and it might make you feel better. And those actions, whether you take the actions or whether you just hold that energy, plant seeds of peace in the subconscious mind. Now, does that mean it's going to have an immediate reaction? Well, we wish so. We certainly hope so. We're going to do our best from this side of the veil to help you clear the energy to be able to do that and the confidence to do it. In fact, we're getting together tomorrow to do exactly that. Plant some of these seeds in the superconsciousness and the subconscious minds of humanity. What a beautiful thing to do. Well, those are things that change a lot of it. Now, the other part that's happening is that as all of humanity is evolving, you're starting to see some of these lines. You'll see more connections between you and other people. You'll see the deep connections of the heart. You'll recognize people. Sometimes you'll make new friendships. Sometimes new things will pop up. Sometimes new people come into your life in magical ways. All these things are starting to happen because of the evolution of humanity. You're starting to see the lines of connection. And of course, if you look in the night sky, it's a timeline. It's 13.8 billion years ago that light was actually created that you're seeing in your eyes. So it's kind of a time machine, isn't it? To be able to look into the past quite that far. And beautiful to see how you work with these things and what that means. But then when you do that, you start to understand something. And that's that all particles that were originally connected in any way still have that connection. They still have this line connecting the dots and connecting all of the parts of yourself. Now, what happens is those are very faded because the veil is very good. It works very well. So you don't actually see the connections. You don't actually see that you're connected, which is part of your lesson of coming here to planet Earth. And then time after time after time, you come back, you try to improve yourself to a point, and you say, you know what? I don't need that anymore. I'm done with planet Earth. You know, but there's a few things I'd love to clean up before I move on. And you come back in one last time, which is why we call you a last timer. And there's a lot of you here on planet Earth right now. And many of you came in just to hold this energy. Some of you came in just to be here, to rock the scales, so to speak. But also, let's go back to the night sky for a minute. If you go back far enough, you could actually call that the Big Bang. It's not really, but we're not going to get into that at this moment. So we call that the Big Bang. What was the Big Bang? Well, nobody's talked about what happened before the Big Bang. It's actually just a dimensional shift from one dimension to another, opened up expansion, incredible things of that nature very quickly. It happens regularly, but only once in your area of life, so to speak. So in any event, what happens is if you go back far enough before the Big Bang, you were all connected. You were there. And you were part of that. Not only part of it, but you were part of everything else. A physical connection to every being everywhere. Very similar to what you have when you go home. A strong connection, energetic connection with every being everywhere. Not just Earth, everywhere. You have this little beautiful light, pinprick of light right in the cosmos that is just starting to take over the night sky. Absolutely beautiful. So that's what we ask you to do, dear ones, is to connect these dots. To try and see that you are connected to every single one of them. And when you look at somebody who's taking, who's fighting a war on your, in your news feed or wherever it is you see it, they're the same as you. Furthermore, they're connected to you. How can you send them the best energy that you can? Well, you can do that. There's lots of ways of creating energy bubbles around people to do that. But the most important part is to see a larger vision. You're playing a new game. You haven't written all the rules of the new game yet. You're just figuring them out now. As the new game starts to advance, those that are deeply invested in the old game are acting out in very big ways to keep things from changing. They will change eventually anyway. You are here to make sure that happens. You're doing better than you think. Okay, that's enough for me for now. I'm going to leave you for a little bit because they keep our time on, so come in and share a few things with you before we go. But know that you are loved beyond your understanding, dear ones. All the eyes of the universe are on planet Earth, the beautiful beings that you call humans. Not just humans. You've got lots of beings on planet Earth. We'll talk about that another time. Enjoy the journey, dear ones. Hold the highest in your heart and place it up in that subconscious mind. See a vision of humanity coming together and start to connect those dots. Aspavo, dear ones. Treat each other with respect. Nurture one another and play well together. I'm Ilra of Rhythmic Service. At your service. Aspaho, dear ones. Greetings, dear ones. I am the Keeper of Time. I am so overjoyed to be with you this day, for humanity has just received a shockwave. Yes, it's almost as if someone took the rug and shook it, and everything everywhere had to kind of find a new position of normal. Well, we hope that normal does not stay long. It is entirely up to you. But we tell you, dear ones, you are here with many of the pieces of the puzzle that you need. Do you hold the answers for some of these complicated questions? No, you may not mentally hold those answers, but you hold the energy of them in your heart. If you can connect your hearts to theirs, whoever they are, you can make a huge difference. Now, as Ilra said, you also have challenges with governments, do you not? These are governments that don't always let their people know what they are doing. Very common, actually, and much larger than you think. You probably think you live in a government that doesn't do that, and yet they all do to some degree. So literally, you've got all this energy to show this in different ways. But now, because of the new connections, because of you reconnecting many of those dots of the integrated parts of yourselves to each other, that is starting to change everything. That gives you opportunities to not only just plant seeds, but also to reap the harvest of those seeds yourself. To start planting seeds for a new life even within your own energy, because many of you are complete with what you have come to do. Being a last timer, as Ilra described, many of you have put a lot on your plate. Many of you have brought a lot here to try and accomplish all these loose ends that you wanted to tie up that you've been working on for eons of lifetimes already. So some of you are a little overwhelmed as last timers. Just breathe, dear ones. We have you. We will fill you full of light and love at every opportunity that we have. Just connecting with you. And what you may not know is you also do that for us. You are part of us. For in the ways that you are connected with each other, you are also connected with us. And we adore that connection. We make space for it at every opportunity we can. We try to nurture you, to open those doors. And yet, as we said, as you evolve, there will be those that try to take advantage of those changes. That is happening on several very big scales. At the same time, as we mentioned, there are opportunities for you to start to resolve issues that you've been dealing with for a very long time. Now, unfortunately, you have all this balance system. If somebody pushes you over here, you have to push them back. We wish it wasn't so, and it is the collective that actually decides that. So place your energy into the collective consciousness, put it into the subconscious mind of what you'd like to see. Now, do not be dissuaded if you don't see all the creations that you're putting up there. But those can start to make a huge difference on your planet. They hold a ray of light that everyone can grow into and hang on to. It's a magical time to be here, dear ones. You have reserved your space on planet Earth for quite some time. And here you are. We are overjoyed at that, dear ones, because you are the magicians that can help to change the outcome of everything that is underway. You can shift this to where all these negatives start building into positives for you. It's a very magical way that this happens. And it all starts with a thought, with a dream. In the face of adversity, in the face of war, dare to dream. And you'll start connecting those dots. That changes everything. You are on the right path, dear ones. It is working. The path is clear in front of you. Take your light, hold it high, share it with others as you step forward, and know that you are on the perfect opportunity to create something very magical. I am the keeper of time, dear ones. I have watched you over eons of time evolve, not just here on earth, but in many places, and nurture the illusion of time. But you're starting to look behind the veil now. You're starting to see things that you've never seen before. Take these opportunities, as we said, even in the face of adversity, even in the challenges that you see now and you will continue to see for a while. Take those dense energies and turn them into something magical, because that's why you came. Take care of those who are in need, especially those who are feeling all that tension and translating it into what you call mental illnesses. Very big way, very big path for humans on the planet right now. You can close that down with love. Dare to fall in love every chance you get. And you will be connecting the dots of love. Well done, dear ones. It is with the greatest of honor I ask you to treat each other with respect. Show that respect every chance you get. Nurture one another, and be sure to play well together. You're playing a beautiful game. Aspavo, dear ones. I am the keeper of time, and I love you dearly.